Good afternoon and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin.
And I'm Sandra Priestley. Welcome to the podcast and happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
I am drinking ice water again. As it turns out, it's good for the hot flashes. So
Yes,
way
but
better than
you're
sweating.
you're you're getting in that rut with me, but I'm breaking the rut today.
Ooh, what do you have it?
So you're gonna love it. Little whispering angel.
Oh, I love the bottle.
I
That's
know.
my favorite.
It's so delicate. It's funny because I have some tea and I was just planning on having some tea. And I
Mhm.
I had a call earlier and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to save some tea." And I saw that in the fridge and I was like, "No, I'm going to drink some Spring Angel.
I love it. I love it.
Can't waste it." But I'm in a celebratory mood, so, you know, there's a
Mhm.
little bit of that as well.
I love it. I can't wait to
So,
hear.
I know. So, a couple of weeks ago, has it been? Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I got some news at work, or maybe I should just say a piece of information. It's not really important what I got, but I had a realization, which was it's time. Like you
Mm,
need to be doing this hypnotherapy in your own space.
yeah.
And the reality is my office is very small. My chair is fine, but it's really not what I want. And I don't have room for what I want in my office. It's loud. So there's a lot of little things that I have to just ignore and
To
go
be at this position that you are,
where I currently am
where
practicing.
you currently are. Okay.
Yeah. And anyway, it was just this clear, it's timely. It's time. And it was a knowing. And I had gone to a ribbon cutting and I was talking to the people and the vibe in there was amazing. It was a, what do you call it? Massage. I don't want to say parlor,
I
but
was going
that's
to
what
say
it
parlor
felt.
too, but like we're really dating ourselves now.
Yes, yes. So this beautiful little building that has massages and it's a couple and they're adorable and the energy in there was so good. And what popped into my mind was, I wonder if they have a room for rent. This would be
Mm,
a great vibe to practice hypnotherapy in. So
right.
I'm nosily touring, looking for an empty room. And I didn't find one. And I went, well, that feels good to contemplate. And
Hmm.
I was standing out on the porch. We were getting ready to do the ribbon cutting. And some of the people there are talking about this complex we're in and how nice it is and how the prices are so amazing there and what a gem it is for Cedar Park because it is so affordable. Yet it's a nice, great location. And so I'm looking around and there are buildings, there's rows and rows, and it just goes back. I mean, it's deep. And I'm just looking around and thinking, there's a there's a room out here somewhere. And I'm going to find the perfect room at the perfect place at the perfect time. And I just sort of released it. I mean, I thought about it, I felt on it, felt so good in my body, and I let it go. And then they asked me to present the plaque and do all, because we'd cut the ribbon, took the picture, put it on the plaque. I present the plaque to the owners, and then it's time for me to leave. And then I'm going to pause the story right here and I'm going to back up for a minute because in February of this year, I went to a ribbon cutting and I talked about it at the energy room.
Right.
And when I was in there and I walked in and I was just like, oh my gosh, this place, I love this place. And in that moment, I knew that we were going to somehow work together. I just did not know in what capacity. And on that particular day, I was talking to the owner's son. And I was telling him about what I do. And I gave him my card and I'm like, we need to connect. And they have been in my mind ever since. I'll hear it. Go to the energy
Mm.
room, go to the energy room. And it's like, okay, okay. Like it's that I hear you, but I don't get off my ass to do anything.
Right. Sometimes we
Well,
get that intuition and it's like nagging, like,
and I'm just
do you
ignoring
not
it.
fucking get? And we ignore it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since February. So on a Friday, I'm on this thing called Alignable. It's a networking kind of thing for people in your area. And the owner, Stephanie, pops up and I see it and I went, oh, yes, connect. So I had gone home for the weekend. I took an extra day off, took off a Monday and get back to the office on Tuesday. But when I wake up on Tuesday, and this is the ribbon cutting day, by the way, I
Okay.
wake up that morning, she pops in my head. You need to go to the energy room. And I get to my office, I open up my email. There's an email from her, from Alignable, her accepting my request, and then responding with something like, I would love to chat with you about your business. And I thought, oh, yay, we're connected. Go to the energy room. So as I'm leaving the ribbon cutting, I'm driving in my car and, oh, there's the energy because it's right in that same complex. And my intention was to just keep driving, but it was as if I was possessed. And
In the
I,
best way
in the
possible.
best way possible, because it was like, no, 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 no. Pull in, get out of my car, walk to the door. It says by appointment only, no walk-ins. Doors unlocked. That is not like me because in my mind, I said, oh, just go make an appointment. Full well knowing I was going to get back and get busy and not make the appointment.
Yeah.
So I just walk in. Door was unlocked.
I'm so shocked at this point in the story. Like, I really, really am. I'm not shocked by the possession from some, higher
Right.
person. I'm not shocked by that. I am so shocked that you walked in because I don't know that I would have. I would guarantee you I wouldn't have. Or maybe I would have. But
I did
I
not
mean,
have a choice, Sandra. I was walked in
you're
there.
just, it's so wild and so cool because I would have gone, oh, I can't walk in. Like, I can't disregard them, right? Like, I
That
can't
that is where I went. And
honor.
my inner
Yeah.
being was like, shut the hell up and walk in. So I walk in, I'm like, I'm going to be quiet as a mouse. And I kind of tiptoe in there and
The meantime, I would be thinking, this bitch is coming to rob us. What the hell? Sneaking in.
sneaking in. So Stephanie gets up from her desk and walks up to me, big smile. And I said, I know it says no walk-ins, but I was here and the door was unlocked. And I just had this pressing urge to stop. And she's like, well, what's going on? And I said, well, I was at your ribbon cutting and I connected with your son. And I have just felt like we're supposed to connect. And you guys pop in my head all the time. And then you popped up on Alignable last week. And she said, what? And I said, yeah, you accepted me. And then you wrote me back. Well, I think it was her son that did that because
Oh,
she was not aware.
okay.
And so she's like, well, do you have a few minutes? And I said, I do. And we start talking. And all of a sudden, she says, Leigh, I have two rooms for rent. If you are interested in renting a room, would you like to see them? Yeah, Stephanie. Yeah, I would. And so she shows me the one that I fall in love with first. And it's in the wealth area of the unit. And walk in, and I was like, oh my God. And then she shows me the other one, and I'm like, nope, I want that one. And she
Mm.
said, well, when do you want to move in? And I said, I need a minute because I visualized this happening somewhere about 7 minutes ago.
It's a
And
lot. It's a lot of change.
this is happening so very quickly that I
Mhm.
just need a minute to sort of catch up with it. And she laughed. And anyway, have, I've gone in and done a session there. I've done a hypnotherapy session with her there. And I really, really like her. I'm really, really excited about where this is going. But we were talking and she goes, Leigh, when you walked in and we started talking and I started talking about these rooms for rent, I had no idea why I was bringing it up. I mean, it was true. And I want to rent these rooms out, but I wasn't thinking that you walked in my door to rent a room. But it just came out of my mouth before I knew it. I was like, kind of the way I pulled in and walked in your door. It was
Yeah.
almost like the universe was going, I've had enough of you two.
Yeah.
Let me just take over from here.
You know what I also love about this? Well, I love the name Energy Room,
Yeah,
but I also love the like vibe of it because she would totally get frequency, energy,
absolutely.
vibration,
Yeah.
following your intuition, opening the door when there's a sign that says, don't fucking come in. I mean, she would get all of that. And so she would also be the one that's just following along her
Yes.
nudges. And, you know, whereas if you were going into, I don't know, like Century 21 building, might be different, right? Like a
Right.
real estate building or I don't know, random restaurant or
Right.
something.
Right.
It would be a different vibration, a different feel. Like they wouldn't really get the energetic alignment of it all and the synchronicity of it all.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Mm,
it's one of those things where I'm in awe
yeah.
and in appreciation of it all.
Mhm.
And then also, is it really that easy?
Mm,
But in the same way that it was that easy, I feel so divinely led.
right.
Like, of course I'm going. Of
Mhm.
course that is the move that I will make because it is the next logical step. And frankly, it's overdue,
Yeah.
you know? And
Wanted you to do this like 6, 8 months ago. You
mhm.
know, like I remember just wanting you so badly to take that leap. But sometimes we get that idea that this is where we're going. And we're just, I think it takes a while for like, our soul might say, yeah, this is where we're going, but it takes a while for everything to get into alignment or, I
Well,
don't
I
know,
think
everything to line up.
it took me acknowledging it is time.
Mhm.
And because I could feel it when I had that thought, like, honey, it's time.
Mhm.
It was an agreement. Like I could feel me going, yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it
Mhm.
is. I'm grateful for my time there and the way things morphed. And it was the perfect place for me in the sense of putting me in front of so many people,
Mhm.
letting me really learn my craft and
Mhm.
practice and really start building a following in a business.
Right.
It was absolutely the place for that. But
Mhm.
now I've outgrown that space.
Right.
I need I need a bigger space. I need a quiet place. I need to be able to have a chaise lounge. I need to be able to have a couple of options where people can sit and be
And I think
comfortable.
freedom, I don't know. like think outside the box a little bit. There's
Yeah.
something magical when you start your own business,
Mhm.
even though you really in the job, in the position that you had, you
Yeah.
really do have a lot of your own leeway,
Right.
but there's something different about working for yourself and really having like the world is your oyster kind of an
Right.
idea of like what else could I do, what else is possible, like, and you can really open up to all of these things that you didn't once see when you're inside of that box.
Right.
I also think this. I think a lot of times we get these ideas. This happened to my husband actually. He was driving to work one day and he just had this like this strong feeling. It's okay to go. It's okay to leave. Like it's okay to leave this job.
Yeah.
And he heard it so clearly and he told me so clearly, but he didn't really have what he was going to do next. And I think he stayed past his time that he was energetically meant to go. And it
Mhm.
was like Oprah says, right? If you don't
Yeah.
listen to the whispers, you're going to have to listen to the screams. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it was like, blah, everything pushed him out. And
Yeah.
I think if we stay too long waiting for the timing to be perfect, which, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of times we convince ourselves the timing is not perfect.
Mhm.
But if we stay too long, we got to listen to the screams.
Right.
And so, when we kind of get those nudges and follow them,
Mhm.
it's like another thing opens and another thing opens, and it
Yeah.
happens so fast. It's fucking shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because you've been on my ass. Like, you got to get out of there. You got to get out of there. And you were not the only one.
What?
You were not it. And, but the thing is, if we leave too early, if we leave before we are ready,
Mhm.
that's a whole another thing. And I could feel in my body. Now, maybe I could have tuned up a little bit and gotten ready,
Yeah.
but where I was sitting and the way that I was looking at the situation, I wasn't ready.
Well, and this is
But,
the thing.
hmm,
I can say, Lee, you're ready to go. I know because I know your soul is ready to go. I know that you can do this,
yeah,
but I don't have fear of the outcome being bad because I just got no, you're going to fly. And
yeah,
I also don't have your thoughts. I
mhm,
don't have your excuses. I don't have your rationale. I don't have
yeah,
all of that shit. So I'm free and clear to just go, yes, it's time for you to leave and you need to quit your job and you need to go and work for yourself and it's all going to be perfect. I don't have all the limiting thoughts. I don't
right,
have all of those, oh, timing might not be right. What if it isn't? Maybe I need to do this and this and this and get this certification or blah, blah,
yeah,
And so it's like either we got to wait until that happens or we hear the screams or we trust Sandra is telling the truth. Let's work
but
through all of those limiting
and
beliefs
you
that
know
are.
what it was? It was me deciding
Mhm.
I was ready. And do you
Yeah.
know what else I think it was?
What?
When I started the hypnosis every single day. When I
Oh,
added that and I
yeah.
said there's going to be some shifts, I think that that has shifted some things in me
Hmm.
because
For sure.
because it happened. I think it was 2 weeks in is when the meeting happened.
Hmm.
And so I can see the evolution in me and I'm ready now and it's time. Am I scared? Yeah. But it's more of a excitement like, oh,
Yeah.
and Paul's like, you not trying this would be the worst mistake of your life. It's not a business you don't know about. You've already been doing it.
Great.
Why would you not do it for yourself?
Exactly.
Which surprised me because he is Mr. You have a job?
Really?
with a steady
Oh.
income. And like that is just the way you don't go out on limbs. And for
Mm.
him to be like, yeah,
But you are the one that does. Because you did go out on a limb saying, I'm going to become a feng shui practitioner,
I
right?
remember when I told him that,
Hmm.
and he's like, really? And I said, uh-huh. I said, I have no idea where I'm going to get the money to do it, but I'm going to find the money to do it. And I'm going to do it. And he just thought it was cute. And so I did it. And then once he saw results, that's when he jumped in. And then he went and got certified.
Right.
But let me tell you something. I don't know if he wants me saying this, but we know he doesn't listen to the podcast, so we're good.
We can say whatever we want.
He last week we were standing in the kitchen talking, and we just finished doing dishes and kind of doing the nighttime making coffee stuff. And he goes, I really want to thrive at work. And I want, how did he say it? I want to feel successful. And I mean, he is doing a great job at where he's at, but he feels like if he applies himself more, it's just going to elevate him.
Okay.
And he wants them to know he's all in. And he said, you come home at night and you do work. There's no reason why you're doing your work. I can't do my work. I don't have to sit outside and watch a game. And so he starts telling me all of the things he wants to feel. So I just start taking notes because, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I said, do you want me to put a session together for you? And he said, yeah.
Cool.
So the next morning, I'm like, do you want to do a session or do you want me to record it? And he goes, record it. So he won't let me do one on him yet, but I have
Okay.
recorded one for him and it's a good one.
Nice.
And I sent it to him. I don't know that he's listened to it yet. He might have listened to it today, but as of yesterday, he had it. So I'm interested to see what that does because that he's been resistant this whole time. Like
Really?
Lily will text me and go, I need a session. Like I'm having a hard day. I'm anxious. I'm sad. I'm whatever. Can you do a session on me? And I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
He is not, he's like, no, 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 no. Yeah.
Really? Why?
He's afraid. He's afraid of it.
Oh.
Yeah. And
I mean, to me, it's just so lovely and so peaceful and just reprograms all the stupid shit we got going on.
yeah,
Right?
all
Like
this
this
bullshit stories.
bullshit stories. Like they're
Yeah.
just holding us back. So to me, it's like, yeah, let's go, Lee. Found something else. Can you remove it? Like
Uh-huh.
it's
Yeah.
just
So I'm very
interesting.
anxious to see really what that opens up in him
Hmm.
because I feel like it's going to be big.
Oh,
Because I know once he started opening the door to feng shui, he was in it with me.
right.
Once he really started seeing the power of it, he's like, oh, I want to do that. And then I keep thinking, I wonder if he's going to get into hypnotherapy too. And I don't know that that will happen, but he will at least be able to benefit
Hmm.
from it. And
I think it's so amazing. I mean, the work is reprogramming those
yeah,
thoughts.
yeah,
Like that's the work, and it'll change everything when we do.
yeah.
So, whatever way works for us
Hmm.
is powerful.
For sure. And I was listening to Joe Dispenza this afternoon when I was on my way home, and he was talking about how learning this new way of thinking is like learning a new language. And how it really doesn't make sense in the beginning, and you're putting things together and you sort of have to think where things go, what does this mean, that kind of thing. But the more you do it,
Yeah.
the easier it gets. And then before you know it, you're fluent. And it resonated with me so much because I remember like sometimes driving into the office going, this is so hard. Like
Mm,
wanting to go to those low vibration feelings, that
yeah.
fear or that worry or that doubt. And I kept going, you can't go sit there.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing good that's happening there. Where do you want to go? And it's like, but this is so hard.
Right.
And it reminded me of being in a biology class in college, listening to the instructor speak on the first day, going, what the fuck is coming out of his mouth? Because he was speaking like the textbooks of
Mm,
words I had never heard.
yeah.
And by the end of the semester, as I'm sitting there listening to him speak, he was speaking, and I'm going, oh, look at how far you've come. You know
Cool.
exactly what he's talking about now. And it was gibberish when you walked in on day one. And
Mm,
this work of really focusing on what you want and deciding where you're going and leaving that old shit behind
yeah.
is kind of like that.
Yeah.
It it's you got to learn it. You got to practice.
Well, and the default is easy.
Well, yeah, because we've
Falling
done
into
it
that
for how
default,
many years?
right? It's easy. And so it's like it's effort to understand a different way and
Hmm.
to force ourselves to follow a different path.
Yeah,
It's effort. It's not just falling into it like the
right.
default of negative thoughts, right?
And then getting around people that are still in that default and not jumping back in with them where it's familiar, especially if it's family or friends where you have a place
Yeah.
and you have a
You know what
role
I
to
thought,
fill.
you know what I find
Mm.
more difficult now? I don't know that I probably did have a moment where it was easy to fall backwards.
Yeah.
What I found was I found it difficult to not try to force everyone out of their default.
Yeah, you can't.
And you can't. But
Mm-mm.
once you see the other side, it's like you want everyone to see, wait a minute, you're just fucking yourself over by falling into the default. Like you're just
Yeah.
like, let's drag you to this side that's better, that's happier, that like everything
Mm-mm.
is blissful, but you can't. And
They
so
can't. They can't see it.
no, I felt there was like a hefty amount of time that I felt like I wanted to drag people with me. And then I knew that I couldn't. And I
Hmm.
was frustrated by it. I was frustrated. And so now I feel like if you want to come, you can. And if you don't,
Yeah.
that's okay too. Like
Yeah.
you have freedom of choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. For a while there, that was the difficulty for me, was
Hmm.
the struggle. Mm-hmm.
Well, and wanting that for them. But sometimes I feel, oh, I don't know if cold is the word, because you can see why things are happening the way they're happening.
Yeah.
It's very like you can look and go, oh, well, it's because of your focus on this and your belief that this is this. And if
Yeah.
you just clear it, well, they can't hear that either.
Right.
But I take the sympathy out of it because that doesn't feel good when someone feels sorry for you,
No.
that energy. So, but it almost makes me feel cold because I'm just, oh, I don't say it verbally, but in my head, oh, this is just happening because of this and this and this.
Yeah.
Maybe one day they'll want to fix it. Or
Right.
maybe they're enjoying rolling around in it. None of my business.
Right. But you know, I do love Amanda Francis. She has that same, and I don't feel like it's cold. I just feel it's like this neutrality.
That's a great way to describe it.
It's like neutrality. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm not going to get my shit all tied together
Mhm.
over this. Like,
Right.
it's just like, or tied up in knots or whatever the statement is. It's like, oh, like neutral. And that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, of course this would happen because this is what you're thinking.
And this is what you're saying and
Right.
regurgitating. And mhm.
Yeah.
But
Neutral.
we all have choices.
We do.
Well, on that note, I think we're out of time. Thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciated this. Thank you for letting me share my
I'm so excited for you.
I know. Next chapter coming up.
Next chapter.
Yes. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next Thursday on the Happy Half Hour. Bye.
Bye.